we can't let a focus group of one be the representative of the whole, especially if it's not representative of the whole. Like, it's a focus group of one or two in this case. Hey, it's Lance McGowan here and
Tanner Freeguard.
And today we're continuing our comment reactions from the Transamerica video that we did. Link will be in the description below. And it's important because we want to address things, making sure people are heard and understood, not ignored, and that we have a reasonable response. So if you come across something like this, or if you leave comments like this, you'll at least have a way to think about things in another perspective, see the other side of the coin. We're all about trying to be objective, but still having your own opinion. Yeah. But basing things on facts as well, because that's important. All right, so this person is named Kim Hungerford.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, Kim. Her comment is right here. It's probably really hard to see from this distance, but it's, again, link will be in the description below. Don't you realized that you both are pyramid schemers manipulating us about your company? All right, so that's her comment. I had a number of rebuttals underneath. There's other people that chimed in. One person said underneath, if you Google any company and put pyramid scheme behind it, you'll find something. And then I basically asked them, have you, even watched this video? And, they're kind of just like, yeah, not really fully. I'm, just kind of chiming in. And so it's interesting that people don't watch the whole thing and then kind of jump to conclusions and then don't get all the facts. But the main point I make whenever somebody mentions pyramid scheme with a MLM or network marketing company, if you've watched my other videos, you'll know this as well, but I try to take the emotion and the opinions out of it and just focus on the facts.
True.
And the facts is that the FTC, the governing body of companies, the Federal Trade Commission, says that any company that exchanges money from the consumer with real products and services is a legitimate legal business. Any network marketing or MLM-based business model that exchanges money for headcount or recruiting is not okay. That's illegal. That's what would make it a pyramid scheme or a quote-unquote scam, right? And so Transamerica follows the money for products model. So it's a legitimate business. There's a value exchange. It's not headcount based. Yes, there are people that can become associates and do the business. Yes, there are other things, but there's a lot of other things involved that make it a legitimate business too, like the level of licensing and regulations that I know you had mentioned earlier about too.
We are the highest regulated industry on this planet, which I love. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you're like, oh, you want to pull your hair out, but what it does, that's what happened?
Is that's what happened.
Okay, regulatory systems.
I searched it, I was like, oh, no, yeah. Right.
So what I love about the industry is that we are regulated. Because of the regulations, because there's licensing, that's what, to me, makes it legit. Honestly, if you don't have a license, you're not allowed to get paid. You're not allowed to give a recommendation to somebody, nor should you. How would I first and foremost, I would never give my money to somebody who wasn't licensed. You're just going to run off with it? Like, what the heck is going to happen?
Right.
Now, if you're in the training process and you're getting a license and you're going through some stuff, okay, yeah, I can kind of see you're learning the ropes. But if you're an associate, if you're somebody who's sitting down with somebody and you don't have the proper licenses to be talking about what it is that you are talking about, then you shouldn't be in the industry at all. So FINRA and the SEC, these are the regulatory systems that govern the financial industry itself. They're the ones that approve and disapprove trade. So all the New York Stock Exchange things, everybody who, I'm sure you guys seen a whole bunch of the different stuff happening out, even in the banking world, or if you look up on FINRA, you can search representatives themselves and see which licenses they hold, which category, how long they've been in the industry, which companies that they've been with. Like, all of that stuff is tracked, looked at, and looked under a microscope to the highest level, because we are dealing with people's money. And again, that's why I love this industry, because of the regulations, because they're not going to let anybody in. There's background checks of the highest level. You're going through federal background checks just to see if you're approved to get a license, not to even be able to sit down with somebody, but just to be able to have a license itself.
And what are some of the bare minimum licenses that an associate from Transamerica or World Financial Group that would need to have in order to do business?
So in order to even say that you're a representative with Transamerica as a broker, you have to be security licensed, first and foremost. That means that you need your 6, your 63, possibly even now we're going into the realm of making sure that you have your 65. If you want to open up a branch, you're talking your 26. There is things like your 7. So there's tons and tons and tons of different licensing out there, depending on what products and services you want to be able to offer somebody, depends on which license they need to have. And they have to renew them either every year or every few years, depending on state. And there's continuing education courses and everything, just like any industry out there. Now, depending on the company that you're utilizing, or who is your broker, or who is the company that you're working with, they might even require or allow you to have a life and health license to be able to offer some products and services out there. So it varies depending on the company, again, that you're associated with. But that's, if you're working with Transamerica and you're stating the Transamerica name, that means that you are or should be a licensed representative of them. Otherwise, it's a no-go.
Yeah, so basically, summary so far is that companies like World Financial Group, Transamerica are highly regulated because of the SEC and FINRA. There's lots of licenses that the associates or distributors, if you want to call them, have to have in order to do business legally. And then on top of that, the FTC defines what is a legitimate business or not from a network marketing or MLM-based business model or referral or word-of-mouth based business model, if you want to call it that. There's lots of different kind of phrases for it. But so it is a legitimate business, and that's what we showed in our video series. It was a 12-part video series, but wanted to kind of talk about this. And although I'm not a part of Transamerica or World Financial Group, I still am a fan of and highly encourage folks to look at how their health and their finances are intertwined. And that's, I focus more obviously on the health side, because without your finances, it's going to be hard to pay for the things that are going to support or improve your quality of life and health. Absolutely. And without your health, it's going to cost more of your finances, right? Yeah. And so there is a intertwining of the health and wealth, concepts. And so that's why I do these videos, and that's why it's important to dispel myths. And the commenter had mentioned something about, we're manipulators, trying to promote our company, or basically to that, concept or whatever she's trying to get across. And it's like, nobody's manipulating anyone. We're keeping it real. We're talking about the facts. There's, you can verify everything we're saying about the licenses needed and the regulations and the regulatory committees involved and the FTC and all that stuff. And so that's what I always come with, which is the facts, right? So I don't like fear-based stuff. I mean, fear is a good emotion to kind of help drive you to action, and then action should be to seek out more facts.
Yeah, I always ask people, honestly, how would a company survive for over 100 years if they weren't doing things right? Like, honestly, how are you going to survive 100 plus years? You think that the company would still be around if you weren't regulated, if you weren't doing the right things, if nobody found any value in what it is that you're doing? I honestly don't feel like they would be around that long.
Yeah.
And the fact that these financial institutions have been around for so long, some of them longer, some of them not as long. I love it. It's what gives it validity.
Yeah, I think longevity does equal credibility.
True.
And when you combine other elements, like we just talked about the licensing and the regulatory committees and the the FTC and stuff like that, it adds even more legitimacy. And then it really comes down to finding the person, product, and company that like, and trust the most. That's where the crux should be. When you have a need for financial services in the context of having a savings account, emergency fund, but specifically some type of retirement game plan that's going to allow you to not have to, work in your retirement years, but really have a nice nest egg that you can enjoy, the golden years, the rest of your life.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna. I will say this: there are bad apples in any tree. So that's where, as long as you're truly that person, what is their intention, why are they in this industry? That's why whenever even when we were working together, we asked each other, why are you doing what you do? It's not what do you do, it's why. because I want to work with somebody whose why is the same as mine. I want to help people, so I want to work with people who also want to help people. It might be in a different way of helping, but it's all together. We're going to help more people together than one person trying to go out there and take it over, or help the world themselves.
Yeah, and when people jump to conclusions too quickly without all the facts or accurate facts, and put somebody or a company or a product in a box, I mean, it's kind of harsh, but it is a form of laziness, because we can't let a focus group of one be the representative of the whole, especially if it's not representative of
Sure.
the whole. Like, it's a focus group of one or two in this case.
Yeah.
And so you have to see if what we're saying, number one, is valid and verifiable, but also if it's representative of the whole. And like you said, there are bad apples in any company. There's bad apples in my company, defined as maybe people who are hard sellers when the other person doesn't even have a realized need or something like that. Or maybe they need to get to know the person and build a relationship before they get the business opportunity. Or, I mean, there's lots of scenarios that play out, and I talk about in my videos, but the point is there's going to be people who basically need more training and better execution and communication skills to make sure that they're a positive representation of the company and displaying the values that really add value to people.
True.
Yeah. Coolness. Well, thank you so much for watching today's video. Make sure to hit the like button if you did, hit subscribe if you haven't already done so for future video updates, and check out the links in the description below so you can continue to get your learn on, and we'll see you in the next video.